Hey guys, thanks for checking out the video. I'm Joe. This is my little channel, Random Computes. Well, you got a large pile of parts here, and I got my assistant stamps here, so probably guess what's about to go down. Alright, so for a quick breakdown of our parts, I'll be going over them in a lot more detail as I'm building, but we got a 750 watt power supply at the motherboard from the dirtiest computer that I ever bought. I'll have a video above or something like that, so you guys can see that if you're interested in that. 480 millimeter radiator. Since I bought this case and it has a spot for it, I put off using it until I had a reason for a 480 radiator. So at all, you can't really see it, but all my parts from Alibaba for my liquid cooling. Hopefully it doesn't leak, but at least if it does, there won't be that much money out. So got pre-chill cooling, which I guess it clogs. I guess that's an issue with that stuff, but it looks good. We'll see how well that lasts. Graphics card is a 7850 that I got for 48 bucks, and it came with an EK waterblock. So EK waterblock is worth more than the graphics card, so it's not a bad deal. Another part. It's our USB 3.0 adapter kit. It plugs into your PCI Express, so it gives us USB 3.0 and it gives us Type C, so that's kind of cool. And then RGB fans over here. Got some cable extensions, a little bit pretty. Let's get this build going. So for cooling, I was going to just fix the fan that came on the little cooler itself, but I noticed that the cooler is mounted directly to the chassis itself, and the motherboard is missing a lot of the standoffs around it because of that. And these weigh over 2 pounds a piece, so that'd be 4 pounds just kind of sitting there being supported by just the motherboard, and a little bit worried about the motherboard flexing and breaking. And as far as I'm aware, no one makes socket 771 water blocks because it's really done to do because you can't overclock. So I went with the most generic one that I could find, and of course it doesn't fit. So I took the back plate off the motherboard. It's gonna actually lines up quite well right there. And I don't know if you can see it, but I'm gonna Dremel out where I need to, and I'll make it fit myself. For comparison, there you go, 0.4. All right, so I know I recorded how I modified these to fit the socket, but I don't know what the hell I did with that footage. If you end up doing something like this, just wear your safety glasses, put the part in a vise or something, just something to hold it down so you're not dremeling towards your fingers or anything like that, and you just have to remove just a little bit of material. All right, so for the CPUs, I ended up buying a couple different pairs. I started off with the fastest socket 771 CPUs I could find on eBay. They ended up not working. The manual says that it can support up to 3.4 gigahertz, but I missed the part where it says it's a maximum front side bus of 1333. The Xeon 5492s are at 3.4 gigahertz, but with a front side bus of 1600 megahertz. So back to eBay, and I decided to run the x5460s. They run at 3.16 gigahertz. I could have gone with the higher up 5470s, but for 3 times the price for 140 megahertz uplift just didn't seem worth it to me. Alright, so the x5460s launched in late 2007, built on the 45 nanometer process. They're quad cores, and they have 12 gigabytes of L2 cache, and as mentioned before, a front side bus of 1333. They can consume 120 watts and no turbo boost and no hyperthreading. As for the motherboard, it's from the previous video that I posted about the dirtiest computer I've ever purchased, and that title still holds, and I really hope to not have a contender for that championship. The manufacturer is the Supermicro, and the model is the X7DAL-E. The main feature is this dual socket 771. It has 6 DDR2 memory slots, but it's dual channel, so it's kind of unique there. The manual gives a broad spec of RAM that should work, including up to 4 gigabyte modules, but after buying 3 different 6x4 kits, and none of them working, I ended up just ordering 4 more of the exact same 2 gigabyte modules it already had installed, so we do only have 12 gigabytes of RAM. The graphics card is a Radeon 7850. It has 2 gigabytes of GDDR5, and it, as mentioned before, it comes with that EK water block that's worth more than what I paid for both parts together, so not too bad. So as far as installing everything, it's pretty much the same. You just have less standoffs because the way the cooling mounted to the chassis instead of to the motherboard. But other than that, it's all about standard affair. Even with a giant open chassis like this, I still have a hard time finding the hole with the graphics card. And here's our USB expansion. It'll give us a little bit faster speeds than the standard 2.0 that's on the motherboard. Went ahead and pre-installed the fans on the radiator. Just seemed to be easier that way. And as far as routing went, I watched a video by Jay's 2 cents about how you should route it, and his conclusion is it doesn't matter. You might get a couple degrees difference, but other than that, it really doesn't matter what order you go in. So I just went with the simplest order that I could come up with, which is this right here. Alright, so here, got paper towels, fingers crossed, and alright, let's start filling her up. Everything looks good so far, so I went ahead and added the cleaner. Pretty much recommends that you run it at least 48 hours with this cleaner in there. So I went ahead and ran it for a little bit over a month until I got home from work. And I was able to swap it out with the actual Primo Chill coolant. I decided to disable Spectra meltdown protection just to see what kind of increase we get, and we ended up gaining 223 points in Cinebench, and that's about a 6% increase, so nothing to write home about, but it's worth doing. As you can see, we almost caught up with an 11th gen i7, the 1165G7, but we are pulling 240 watts. That one's only pulling 15 watts, so it gives you an idea of our power consumption. Alright, well, the cleaner stayed in there for a little over a month, so I went ahead and decided it's time to add the actual coolant when I got home from work. So it didn't really work out all that well. As you can see right there by the funnel, it's kind of bubbling out a little bit. I didn't leave room for air to escape, so yeah, probably not the best idea, especially with it plugged in. And I eventually turned it on so it can suck it down, but it's still bubbling out the top. Wasn't the best way to fill it up. At least it didn't short anything out, I guess. Everything's looking fine until right here. Just that little stupid clip, that acrylic clip that holds the reservoir on, just decided to snap out of nowhere. I guess maybe the weight of that coolant was just more than the distilled water in the cleaner, so it just decided to give out. So time to go to the 3D printer. Alright, so I got it sitting on the floor running a Cinebench, just looking at the temperatures and stuff. Started messing around with these cables right here and noticed quite a bit of heat. So decided to do a little bit of a test, and Yeah, that's probably not good. In the original case, it would have a lot of airflow going across the RAM here, so we're going to have to create that or we're going to burn up the RAM. Now that we got the issue with the RAM overheating fixed, let's run some benchmarks.
I like to keep this.
Alright, so here's the final product. It doesn't look like a 15-year-old server anymore, full of dust and pet hair and shit. So overall a success, I guess. Runs nice, cool. You know, a lot of this thing on it is the pump. Other than that, you know, it's pretty much a silent computer. Runs newer games. You know, it won't run the newest games because it's missing some instructions and the drivers. I tried to run the NIMS drivers, and with Windows 11, it wouldn't work with that. I'm running Windows 11 just because it's not supported, and this whole computer is about going against the grain, so that's decided it's going to run Windows 11 now. If you follow me on Reddit, you would have seen this posted a few times, just showing off the build as it's going. And the main question I got was why? Or why would you do something like this? And my answer was always, you know, why not? I like to showcase stuff that can still run games. Hell, these processors are 15 years old, but they were, I think, like $2,000 a piece at the time. So I mean, they got to be capable of something today, and they are. I mean, they can game. The main thing that was holding us back was the graphics card. I need to upgrade the graphics card, and we can even stretch the legs even further. But with that, I'm gonna end it. If you liked the video, hit the like. If you hated it, that's cool, man. Just hit that dislike. I don't care. If you want to see more stuff like this, subscribe, and maybe I'll see you guys in the next one. There'll be a video to the left and right of me. Hit those if there's anything interests you in that, and maybe I'll see you guys. Have fun.